Howdy, 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 everybody, and welcome to the iRacing Formula 3.5 Challenge here at Watkins, Glen, New York. Hope you guys had a wonderful holidays. I'm sure these drivers had as well, but it's time to get back to business and get back on track in these beautiful Formula 3.5 cars. I'm Austin Knight. I'm joined by Alessandro Taladone with Marco Probenera in the production booth. Alessandro, how are you feeling about today, and how's your holidays?
Absolutely fine. Lovely weather here in Italy, not too cold, and although obviously it's a hard time for everybody, but now we are set to enjoy another beautiful hour of Formula Renault 3.5 racing. Plenty of different drivers to watch for this race, Austin. Probably also due to the holidays, a bit maybe the new car, but I think we are set for another great and thrilling race.
Yeah, we are set for another great race, and we're here in beautiful Watkins, Glen, New York, and I gotta tell you, I love this track. I love driving here, but these 3.5 cars just are something else around here.
Absolutely, as we are on board, you can see how fast is this final section thanks to Greg Olson, who sets the fastest lap of qualifying after 3 minutes. So now we will have plenty of drivers crossing the line and see if anybody can beat this time.
Yeah, a lot of new faces here. A very low strength of field. That's to Holiday and the new car. We did learn that Tim Delisle and some of the positive sim racing guys have moved over to the IR01, so we might not be seeing a lot of them throughout the season as a focus on that beast of a car. But hey, that is leaving the champion spot vacant right now, and Edward Samborski, home racetrack for him. He's native of New York, and well, currently sitting in provisional pole.
Yeah, absolutely great lap. It's gonna be interesting to see how much drivers will improve in the second. Remember that this layout we are running today does not have the bus stop. It's the classic layout, so draft in the race will be playing a huge role, especially also with this DRS coming to place in the final parts of the race, since drivers only have 8th.
Last time we came here, we had a side-by-side fight for the lead that came down to the last lap with a DRS pass on the final lap to decide the winner, as Greg Olson goes to provisional pole ahead of Everett Samborski by 0.08 of a second. Paul Ilbrick just up into third, and those three are separated underneath 1.5 tenths of a second, and that's a little bit of a gap to Riley Miller in fourth.
Yeah, we start to see already a little separation between the first 3 drivers that we are used to see always fighting for top spots every race. As Samborski improves, but not enough. 11 thousandths of a second is the gap separating P1 from P2.
Also, correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm spotting a name that seems extremely familiar to our graphic style, like it kind of belongs there in real life. I believe I'm talking about Raul Hyman, who is Formula 3 Asia Series champion, but I believe he has done a little bit in Formula 3.5.
I'm not really into low feeder series in open wheel racing, but so I can't neither confirm or deny, unfortunately. It's gonna be, hopefully we make a podium so we can ask him at the end, no?
Yeah, I'm getting correction that he did not race in Formula 3.5. He was looking into Formula 3.5, but then that series disbanded.
Yeah.
Thank
Tough
you, Marco.
times for the Formula Renault, but we still have plenty of time to appreciate it here in iRacing.
That beautiful time, beautiful car. A lot of new names as we're looking at Daniel Gallus right now. He's currently at the back of this 23 car grid. 63 drivers signed up here today. We got a strength of field of about 3,500 right now, which is I can't believe that's like the first time we've dropped into the 3000s.
Maybe Bathurst last season.
We don't talk about Bathurst.
I'm sorry to bring it up. But I remember I made that race, so it wasn't really
Yeah, you got
exceptional.
10 bucks from that race.
Oh yeah, made my day.
Yeah,
Well,
you
if
attempted the jump.
anyone wants to join the series and have already a little base, something to work on, you should check out some of our sponsors that make this show possible on Apex Racing TV, like Virtual Racing School, to improve your performance on track with 50 plus data packs, both on road, oval, and dirt racing, track guides, data analysis software, and
Ooh.
also coaching.
Well, as we just switched over to that screen, Greg Olson um, sniped pole. Just as we switched over, Greg Olson sniped pole at the top. Wow.
Okay, that was unexpected.
Well, talk about unfortunate transitions right there. Greg Olson snipes pole position ahead of Everett Samborski, followed by Paul Ilberg, Jason Enrique, Rob Crouch, Riley Miller, Jamie Byrne, I Am Keyman, Raul Hyman, Alvaro Martin, Masfumi Albarumi, in 11th, followed by Simon Ayrton, Philip Hillard, James Byrne, Pavel Vaskivev, Julian Passer, Alexis Vico, Mark Ponik, Christopher Block, Eduardo Marquez, Daniel Barrero, Kian Napakayashi, and Daniel Gallus at the end of this 23 car grid. Cars are lining up and getting ready to go here in the hills of Watkins, Glen, New York. And I can tell you, it's going to be a wild ride here. Strap in, get set for another amazing 3.5 race ahead of you.
Absolutely, the first few corners are gonna be crucial. The S's are always a very, very tricky spot, and especially that long run on the straight is gonna shake things up front and in the, overall in the pack. It's gonna be definitely a drag race till the carousel.
Yeah, drag race indeed is going to be down heading into turn one, then onto that long back straight without the bus stop and heading into that carousel turn. And I'm going to tell you, these guys are not going to lift heading through any of it. You're going to have to lift a little bit heading into turn one, but through that carousel, oh, it's pedal to the metal, and whoever lifts first usually loses. But it's going to be a race of, I want to say attrition, race of steel. We're going to find out. 5 red lights are coming on, and let's go racing here in the Formula 3.5 at Watkins Glen. It's a great start for the guys up front, and also we're going 4 wide immediately off the back from some of the drivers getting a better loss than enough, but it's Olsen and Samborski and Ilberg going side by side in the battle for second place. They get back onto the track after heading out into that giant runoff. Ilberg and Samborski still side by side as they head up into the S's. They're followed by Henrique, Miller, Crouch, Keenan, Byrne, Hyman, and Martin, our top 10.
Yeah, very good start for Greg Olsen, now trying to maintain a side of the road. You know that in Watkins Glen you always have to maintain one side or the other, not in the middle, because the crest slows the car down as we go through the carousel, and everything seems to be pretty tight, Austin.
Yeah, pretty tight indeed. Paul Ilberg didn't get past Samborski, but Jason Enrique, he's under pressure from Riley Miller, who's making up some spots. So we ride on board Samborski and looking back at the rest of the grid. And Greg Olsen has already pulled out a 1 second gap, and it's mostly due to everybody just, well, involved in this massive fight behind him.
Yeah, absolutely. Going side by side to the S's is not a very good thing, especially with cold tires. And Samborski definitely now is going to have to work really, really hard and use DRS, but I bet also Greg is going to be using it on the next straight. If also manages to get ready, it's going to be very, very tough for whoever is going to catch him.
Well, we saw this last season when we came here, I should say last year. where Olsen and Tarleton, actually Delisle and Tarleton and Olsen, I believe, they were using their DRSs very early on to break free in the pack, but later on in the race, they became very vulnerable to the drivers who saved up their DRSs. As we get a good fight right here, Jamie Byrne going for that switchback, staying in the middle of the track. He's going to slow down by that crest right there, which is right there, I believe. And yeah, you can see he just kind of hit like a little bit of a speed bump and didn't get a big enough gap to pull away as he wanted. As we go, and look at this, is Crouch leading this group, followed by Hyman, Keeman, Miller, Byrne, Martin, and Aburumami. Aburami. Sorry.
Yes. For this time, it's not me who renames us. We have issues between
no, Barbara Vico. Off in tow. The McLaren car off, and we got a massive crab.
Still issues.
Oh no! Byrne and Martin getting into each other. And the 3 Spaniards are out of this race.
Let's see the replay.
This is Daniel Barrero. Down to the, oh my god. That's just a murder.
Definitely not the way he wanted to take the corner, I guess. Went a bit too deep, as we see here. Ooh, very unfortunate for Byrne. Checked up, but the guy behind him didn't.
Masafumi just dodged a bullet right there.
We're looking at the back of Samborski for second place, very close, but still not able to get clear, as we have a fight for 7th position between Hyman and Miller. But overall, apart
experienced driver fighting, well, trying to stay ahead of Riley Miller. He's moved up 2 spots. Biggest mover so far in this race is Daniel Gallus, up 5 positions, as well as Ivandro Marquez.
Starting at the back, profiting from a few crashes in this second lap. Must say one of the cleanest starts we have seen in the recent times, Austin.
Formula 3.5 starts have been actually very, very clean, as you might be noticing. Well, the 2 Japanese drivers in here, Masafumi and Kai. Gotta say, they made a post onto the iRacing forum saying the Japanese iRacing community has taken an interest into the Formula 3.5 after its comparisons to the Super Formula, and that a few of the Super Formula drivers use the Formula 3.5 as a little bit of a training before going out into the real world. So the Japanese invasion, as some might say, is coming upon us, and I gotta say, I love racing with these guys.
Oh yeah, absolutely. We love to have them in our community. Absolutely a pleasure to, side by side. Tough hit.
Right into Hiller. And Hiller, ooh, that's risky. Going across the track right there. Man, that car is very damaged. He's turning a little bit left. Let's run on board with Philip Hillard. And just heading into carousel just regularly, then just gets tapped in the rear. He let the space up the inside, then unfortunately just car drifts up just a little bit, and boom goes the dynamite.
Yeah, absolutely. Hillard did a good job. The guy onto the inside washed a little bit towards the outside lane, and nothing Hillard could do. Unfortunate, but he's still going. He probably will have to go to the pits very soon, though, as Olsen is still leading by 1.3 seconds from Samborski, but the pace is still very similar, so this race is not over. We have 20 laps.
As Marquez and Vasiliev going side by side. Marquez trying to hold it around the outside. And he's lined up for that draft run down the back straight. Let's ride on board with Viandro. going around the outside. Side-by-side drag racing here at Watkins Glen as they head down to the back straight. And it is Vesvev riding in the middle of the track, and that's a position for Marquez.
You could clearly see the difference between running on one side of the track and running on that crest. Vasiliev was very, very, very slow in the middle, while
The car brought him out
very,
on him.
very fast. Yeah.
It's right on board with Julian Martinez Pastor, the only Spaniard left in this race that hasn't been in an incident. I know Alvaro and Daniel, they've gotten back out onto the track after their earlier incident.
Very close racing here in the midfield. Battle for 14th place between Marquez, Vasiliev and the block, as Samborski is the first driver to break the wall of the 129. 129.9. Second driver.
Yeah, Greg Olson said a 129.99. But I think in the lap before this. Samborski, though, staying in that draft up at front as we ride on board of this battle for 14th. As Block has caught up to these two. And up here, we got the battle for 7th. Hyman goes low.
See if he can clear Miller before entering the cars.
He's got the
needs plenty
speed.
of time.
Oh, yeah, he's got that. Hyman jumps up ahead of Miller for 7th place. Miller under pressure by Albarume. And there is Byrne closing in on these three as they head into the toe.
See how difficult it is to go through these corners.
That is a very interesting nose job on this car.
Yeah, absolutely.
Ooh,
we have
man goes a little bit off track right there in the heel. Now it's one of the most tricky corners. Even with all this downforce, it's so easy to get the back end spinning around here at Watkins Glen.
Yeah, I think these drivers are all running very low downforce setup, trying to maximize speed.
Nope.
Definitely. No?
Very high downforce setup here. I do not see anyone trying the medium downforce. I was hearing people talking about the medium downforce, looking at it as a possibility. You are 0.2 faster on the straights, but the speed that you gain in stability in that high downforce configuration is just so much more convenient for you to use that they're just staying with a high downforce up throughout here. Even if it's just high downforce A, it's high downforce A, B, and C. I was expecting some guys to try high downforce C, but after talking with a few of them throughout the week, it's actually just been high downforce A throughout all of them. Even the setups that are available by a few of these drivers, they've all had high downforce A.
It's very interesting. That tells you how much I drive this car. It's a very lovely car, but unfortunately I don't really go on well with that. As Olson is slowly getting caught by Samborski, as you can see from this sector.
Hyman's falling down the field. Hyman is off. Raul Hyman is falling down the field, and off he went. Coming out of that ridge, he went off track last time by at that same corner, and just a little bit too much mustard right there, and around he went in exactly that corner that I said it's so easy to get that back end around.
Absolutely.
And Greg Olson in the lead, but look who is right behind. It's the native Edward Samborski. He's trying for a win on his home track right here.
Also made a big mistake in Sector 3 last lap. He lost more than 1 second to Samborski. And this gave him the chance to close down very, very fast.
Samborski sniffing at the heels of Greg Olson. And I feel like Edward is just going to, knowing him, he likes to take it a little bit slow. He's probably used up 1 to 2 DRSs to catch up to Greg right here. He's going to be saving the rest for that final stretch on that back straight.
Yeah, absolutely. It's gonna be key to save as many DRSs as possible for the last 4 or 5 laps, because it's gonna be very, very tough for both drivers to keep one or the other behind. And at the same time, they also have not to fight too hard, because Hilbring is 3.5 seconds behind. Quiet evening for Paul Hilbring, we must say, so far. But doesn't take much. Ooh, it's Iron again.
Oh, this track, that ending sector is not going good for him, and I feel like it's going to be the end of his race, and he's eyeing the pit lane because he might have some damage on that car. The Formula 3.5 in this current damage model is very rigid. And here's what happened, just a little bit too much mustard. Got out into the grass and bang off the wall. And that is just unfortunate right there.
Yeah.
Small mistake, extending the track as much as possible, and unfortunately, when you extend the track that much, you get bit.
Absolutely. Racing curbs sometimes don't work at your favor. Absolutely not. As we got an evidence there. Block and Marquez fighting for 14th place. These guys are fighting from the start with each other. But battles are across all the field. Here we have Aburame, Byrne, Miller and Ayton very close together. Midfield seems to be
James
very,
Byrne.
very even. Midfield is very, very even, Austin. Pace throughout
Yes.
the midfield is very similar.
Yeah, the midfield guys very similar in these cars, and I love the midfield fights here. The draft in these cars is so powerful, and it just shows everyone's driving style and how they handle this car. And I've been getting a lot of feedback that this car is just so fun to drive, and we're attracting a lot of guys from the Formula 3 series and the Formula 2 series as well. And just some people that just want to change the pace, want to switch over from sports cars into open wheels, and they feel like this is the best idea for them. The Formula 3 is just a little bit too easy to drive for them. They want to have something that they can respect at.
Yeah, absolutely. This is a big stepping stone also for the new car that iRacing just released this season. Might be a little bit easier because of downforce, but still you need plenty of experience with open wheelers to master it.
Oh, yeah.
As the best drivers in the service do. And coming back to what we were saying at the start of the broadcast, apart from Virtual Racing School, we also have our own Apex Racing Academy with 29 data packs, setups, track guides, and mostly also an integration with VRS, so you can have all the setups in one single website, and much more. And check it out on our website. This car also has his own data pack, so if you want to get closer to the Formula 3.5, you can go check it out on our Apex Racing Academy website.
Yeah, also the Apex Racing Academy is the title sponsor of the official iRacing Formula 3 series, the Apex Racing Academy F3 series. If you run 10 races with the Apex Racing Academy logo on iRacing as your primary logo in the iRacing paint booth, if you just run 10 official races, doesn't have to even be in the F3, you can run 10 NASCAR races with that on there, you will be entered into a official drawing to win free Apex Racing Academy membership. So run that black and green, I gotta say.
Oh yeah, absolutely. It's a beautiful sponsor. It looks very cool on any car. Even the great magenta cars me and Marco are used to drive every time.
The original.
Oh yeah. We
Samborski
will never forget.
closing in, but he's actually dropped back 2/10 that time by Greg Olson, pulling out a little bit of gap with Samborski, just staying in that draft and staying with him. So let's take a look at our battle for fourth. Keeman and Henrique battling out in 5th place right now as they're trying to chase down Rob Crouch ahead of them. Ooh, this is a close one. Looking down the inside, Ponic holding around that outside, but here comes Pavel. Just, ooh, what a switchback move. Came across the nose right there, just Ponic, but as we ride on board Pavel, and 12 actually had to lift off right there, but now he's looking around the outside, and he's getting some help up ahead. Side by side they go down the back straight, and it's Pavel up into 12.
Yeah, very good pass by Vasiliev. He didn't really force the way on the S's, as he was saying correctly. Austin lifted a little bit, but he got the move done way before the carousel, as we have Enrique looking to make a move on Keyman. This group of drivers are battling very hard since the start of the race, and giving us a great fight to watch, and I bet this will be till the end.
A great fight, a great race going on between these guys, and Henrique, just look at the focus in those eyes, but none can beat the focus of Edward Samborski. Eyes wide open and a mouth, I wouldn't say keep your mouth open, there's a lot of bugs in the area, but hey, he's native to the parts, and well, he's ready for the job. Just look at that face of determination, focus, and everything. Just, and you can't beat that. Can't beat that.
Absolutely, it's always a must camera, at least for a few frames every race. Makes always
Marco's favorite camera shot, I can tell you that.
I absolutely agree with that. It's
Crouch under pressure from Keeman. Keeman had a late pullout right there, and just not enough to close in on Crouch to make that move path, but he did close in on Crouch and get a lot closer to attempt another one as Byrne swings it around the outside for 7th.
yeah, great pass on the Japanese driver, and now Byrne is gonna be the one hunting down these 3 guys. They are far ahead, but you never know. Fighting could slow them down. We have still 12 laps left, so the race is still very long. We are just after mid-race, so drivers slowly will also start to feel a bit of tire wear, especially when in dirty air.
Enrique staying in that draft. And oh no! Goes for Ilbrink! He's gone wide, he's hit the grass coming out of turn 1, and Ilbrink, his car is badly damaged.
A rare mistake by the Dutch driver. Let's see the replay. He almost clipped the grass.
Goodness, that's just wide, and it's massive hit into the inside Armco barrier. He went careening across the track. Luckily, nobody else is involved here, but Paul Ilbrink is a sitting duck right now because he's got a massively bent front wing.
Absolutely, I think also suspension is gone.
Slow.
They probably have to tow to pit road, or we'll try at least to make it back to pit road and assess the damage. We know that he will keep it out of the way, but I think it's better to maybe tow it back because the steering is very bad.
He knows he can get back onto the front straight. He's just driving it very safely, but oh yeah, that's some massive suspension damage. He's turning that wheel 45 degrees to the right and to keep it straight, and this car won't turn, and I believe he's just letting everybody by right now and keeping out of their way, as here comes Gallus and Paul Ilbrink using that F3 relative and staying out of the way of everybody else, and he wants to get this car back into the pits. And this is what I like about Paul. He's a very nice guy out there on track. If something happens and he feels that fault, he'll let you know. As oh no, Keyman's made a wrong move. That's at turn 1 as well.
trouble spot of the day so far. I think Kim managed maybe to keep it out of the wall.
Ooh, that's very fast into there, and just like Paul Ilbring, bad angle over those curves, and the car just snaps over there. And the no-nonsense racing driver, well, he's not feeling very good, but he did avoid car damage as Paul Ilbring finally gets his car into the pit lane and do assess that damage. But I feel like that's his race done for the day.
Oh, absolutely. I would be very surprised if he gets to do some more laps in this race. As we are now following James Byrne, that after all this madness in the last few laps, find himself in the top 5 after starting all the way back in 14th place. So he is now our biggest mover of the race.
Yep, up 9 spots, and James Byrne is burning his way up through the field, and his brother, Jamie Byrne, is all the way down at 16th. Usually we find them nose to tail for each other.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm very, very surprised. I clearly remember also last season they were running in tandem all the way.
Yeah, I can't recall a time where they weren't not together. Feels like James just knows the track a little bit more and knows how to make his way up through the field. James under pressure by Masafumi, who's looking on the outside. Side by side they go. That inside line is just so good, and James giving it a little bit of cut on the nose right there to the Japanese driver. Letting him know, hey, I'm still ahead of you. Byrne still in 5th.
Great fight for P5, and great showing by the Japanese driver Masafumi Aburame. Great debut in the Formula Renault 3.5, already fighting for a top 5, which is definitely not an easy task.
Not an easy task indeed, and well, they're just pulling out a massive run here today, and I'm gonna be honest, I can't wait to see more of them.
Absolutely. As I said, we are delighted to have them on board, and we hope to see even more people joining for next week.
Yep. And the numbers just keep seeming to go up too. Doesn't matter if the top guy is all abandoned ship to the IRO1. Formula 3.5 is still such a fun car to drive. It's a very welcoming series.
Yeah, absolutely. I can totally agree with that, and obviously this is a bit particular week because of the festivities. As Aburame now is looking to pass Byrne on the outside.
He's got an amazing run. Side by side they go. Masafumi swings it around the outside of the carousel. He's got a nose length advantage as they head around. They're heading into the boot. Masafumi sends it down low. Masafumi Aburame up into 5th.
Great pass, but now it's the hard part. You have to pull away and break the draft, otherwise James Byrne will have a chance to come back next lap or in the next few laps. We are on lap 17, so we have still plenty of chances. Also for Kieman, who is lurking in the background, hoping for some mistakes or even more fighting to get the position he lost a few laps ago with his spin.
I am Kieman slowly making his way. As the more they keep fighting out in front of him, the more he's going to be closing in on him in just 1.5 seconds, and he's within that range after his mistake at turn 1. And it's there right now.
Great lap by Kieman, 30.036, which is one of the fastest laps of the race, only 1/10 away from the laps that the leaders are doing. So
Rest over for Byrne.
He will be flying past the Japanese driver before the carousel. They are already side by side, but Byrne has already
cleared him.
a car lane. Great pass.
clearing his way through the field.
Miguel Martinez Pastor fighting with Pavel Vasilyev for the last spot in the top 10. Also here, drivers making up plenty of position compared to the qualifying order as we go back to the lead with Greg Olsen, who opened up a 2-second gap right now on Samborski. As you can see, lap 15 mostly. 1 second was the gap. Samborski probably made a little mistake and gave back Olsen that second he lost in the opening laps. 1:29.72 right now for Samborski.
Wow.
New fastest lap of the race.
Oh! No.
Pastor.
Julian Martinez Pastor around in the penultimate corner. Just too much mustard on the entry. It is.
Great 360. A bit tricky there with the rejoin, but he did a great job. He didn't lose much time.
Yeah, didn't lose much, but oh man, he really lost that out. As we look back from Byrne, as Keeman trying to swing it around the outside of Masafumi. Keeman's got that inside line, and Keeman's going to send it up there into 6th place. I am Keeman is making his way back up through the grid now. And Greg Olsen has a 2-second gap to Evan Samborski, but Samborski, after putting in that fastest lap, he can still catch up to Greg Olsen.
Oh yeah, absolutely. The race is not over. We have still 6 more laps, so drivers will be having still plenty of chances to get their time back or make mistakes. As the fight for the 5th place is still going on, and Keeman is look at the understeer that Arurano got through that last corner.
The tires are biting him right now, as well as the dirty air of these cars.
Yeah, absolutely. It's very, very difficult with warm tires, and also now clouds are giving space to some sunlight. 27 degrees is the temperature today here in New York. 36 degrees is the track temperature, so definitely is gonna make some tire wear for this car, as we have a pass for 11th place between Pastor and Mark J. Ponick. Pastor trying to make up the time lost previously in a spectacular spin. Still 3 seconds to get where he was before fighting for a top 10 finish with Pavel Vasilyev.
He's got Mark right behind him, and it's not a man to say no. It was a good fight.
You see he's struggling a little bit here. It's not easy to get the correct lines, and especially also on exit to apply correctly the throttle. So multiple times in more or less every car on the service, how complicated and difficult that corner is. That transition from the boot to the cap track is always very, very tricky.
In every car, it's so tricky. I haven't met a car that it's not kind of a death trap to. I would say the Skippy's the only car that it's very stable in. The Jetta, too. Maybe the Solstice.
Ponick didn't have the speed to pass faster on the straight. So he's stuck behind him for another lap. Plenty of space behind to take his time and see where he can get a move done. If he doesn't really have the speed on the straight, can maybe pull a surprise move around this portion of the track where Pastor maybe struggles a little bit more. You can see here also in our tower the rating that each driver will be able to gain if they finish in this position. Not a day to remember for Colibri, using 137, or iRacing Stafiavico with 115. Always a triple number usually is not good.
It is never a good sign when you're losing over 100 iRating a day from one race.
Greg Olson still with a 2.5 second lead. And only 4 laps and 2 corners left for this motor event.
Greg just has to keep his head down and well, keep her consistent, and he doesn't have to worry about anything. He does have a lap car behind him helping out with Samborski, but these two guys have pulled out a 15-second gap on the field.
Absolutely, as we were saying in the qualifying session, the top 3 definitely showed us that they had much more speed compared to the rest of the field, and they truthfully proved so by extending a gap of over 15 seconds on 3rd place, since Paul Ibring had some issues today, but in the meantime, we keep on watching this great battle for P9 with Vasiliev that closed down on Simon Ayton, the British driver. Will have a chance now to move even more higher up in the standings. See if he has a good run.
Yeah, but Pavel got to run on him. But Pavel's just too far behind to make that move stick, though.
Same applies to Ponic. He doesn't find enough speed to go through Julian Martinez Pastor. The only Spaniard driver who managed to keep it on track without any mistake today, unfortunately, as Vasiliev is looking to the inside, but it's never easy. Oh, he forced a mistake, and Ayton goes
off in the heel.
Rejoins, and now he finds himself already in another battle with Pastor and Ponic.
Almost came right into Pastor right there, and I think Pastor might be a little bit upset on that track re-entry.
Was definitely very interestingly joined by Ayton, but managed not to hurt anybody. As now, Pastor will have a chance to attack and get that P10, as Byrne is now defending from Keyman, who is charging back through the field, trying to get that 5th place that lost previously.
Staying with him, but as we go to Ayton and Pastor, Ayton just holding outside line. Pastor, though, staying in the middle of the track, bottoming out his car and killing off that speed right there. As Ponic, though, letting off the attack and just letting these two guys fight. He saw a few drivers, these two get a little bit aggressive, but it's white flag out. And who's going to be the last one to take the attack to them? Pastor goes a little bit wide, and here comes Ponic.
Ponic still too far. Probably doesn't want to get too much involved in these. He senses that something is going on.
Ayton's off! Ayton's off again!
It's a back-to-back mistake. Same corner for Ayton. And now gives the chance also to Marquez to get through, and he finds himself now in 14th place, fighting with Daniel Dalis, the German driver, as we are back on James Byrne and see who is gonna take the car result.
He's got a run. He's already started the DRS run by the S's, and he's already got a car length on James Byrne. I am Keeman back into 5th place. Purple through sector 1.
Amazing passing, got it done even before the DRS zone.
No DRS zones in Formula 3.5. Remember that. You can activate it whenever you want. You can activate it at the bus stop.
But indeed there is a DRS zone.
No,
For
there
a
is a
car
DRS
that will
zone.
never be used again, but...
Oh, that is true. That is true. But the DRS usually starts at the S's. As Greg Olson powered through here today. P1, and I am Keeman's been passed by Byrne. Oh my goodness. Byrne in the heel gets past I am Keeman. As Sam Borski puts in the fastest lap of the race, a 1:29.71. I am Keeman trying to anything to get past James Byrne, but it's going to be James Byrne coming home in 5th.
Great pass by Byrne, we didn't catch it, but absolutely great race from the American driver, as we are still looking at the battle for 10th place between Pastor and Ponic, and Pastor seems like he's gonna be the one rounding up our top 10 here at Watkins Glen, Austin.
Yeah, absolutely great race, and that's how they wrap up a race. And here's what happened with I am Keeman and James Byrne here in the tow, and Byrne just took the regular line. Keeman went wide, and that's a setup. Byrne to go side by side with I am Keeman heading into the heel. Byrne has that inside line, and he just, ooh, they're still going at it. But it's that crazy corner up next, and James Byrne just held it right there and kept his head down and pushed up there. But the man of the day, it is Greg Olson taking the victory.
Yeah, very smooth ride for Greg Olson. Kept it very clean. A little mistake, but he managed to get home a great win here at Watkins Glen.
Yeah, great race, and it came out absolutely perfect here at Watkins Glen. Greg Olson takes the win, followed by Everett Samborski, Rob Crouch, Jason Enrique, James Byrne, I am Keeman, Masafume, Abarume, Riley Miller, Pavel Vasvilv, Julian Pastor, Mark J. Ponick, Christopher Block, Everaldo Marquez in 13th, followed by Simon Aiton, Daniel Gallus, Jamie Byrne, Kai Nabayashi, Alvaro Martin, Daniel Barraro, and Philip Hillard, followed by Paul Ilberg, Raul Hyman, and Alexis Vico. The end of this 23-car grid, and we are standing by with our race winner himself, ladies and gentlemen, Greg Olson.
Hello, how you going?
Hey, Greg, how was that race for you?
It was a surprisingly straightforward race, to be honest. Didn't expect to get pole, and then I just used DRS to kind of build the gap from Ed, and yeah, it seems like I just had really great praise in the car today, which was kind of unexpected, but a welcome surprise nonetheless.
Well, surprises are all what the holidays are about, aren't they?
Absolutely, and I mean, I did have that surprise at the carousel where I lost all that time, so I burnt through all my DRS. I saved one of them, but I burnt through all of them trying to gap Ed, and then I immediately lost it all. So I thought maybe I'd given the race to Ed at that point, but no, it turns out that I think Ed said he might have made a few mistakes as well, but yeah, hung on, and no big surprises.
No big surprise except for that one, and well, a very straightforward victory for you. Of this season, which race are you looking forward to the most?
It was probably Suzuka, to be honest. Suzuka's my favorite track, but there's a few good ones coming up. I think there's Road America, which is really nice, and Yeah, I can't quite remember the rest of the season, to be honest, but definitely.
I know Circuit of the Americas is up there, and I'm very looking forward to that. I'm biased as all heck going into there.
Yeah, well, I think that's next week. So
It is next week, and I'm going to be very happy.
unfortunately, I think I'm going to be traveling that week to a wedding. So, well, we'll see. But so unfortunately, I'll miss out, which is a shame because I kind of wanted to have a crack at it because I missed out last time with internet troubles when we ran Circuit of the Americas. So, oh well, it's a good chance for someone else anyway to try and take the win.
All right, well, it's a win for you here today, Greg. Before you go, anyone you want to thank?
Yeah, I'd just like to thank Positive Sim Racing and all my teammates. I know that Tim's not racing anymore, but it's still his setup from last season that I didn't really have to touch at all, to be honest. It just put it on the track and went fast straight away, which is really cool. And yeah, all the rest of the team, and obviously you guys for the broadcast.
All right, thank you, Greg, and well, glad you kept with the Formula 3.5. We're gonna enjoy you here this season.
Thanks, Austin. Take it easy.
You too. And joining Alessandro, it is Edward Simborski.
Eddie, how are you doing? Great race today. Second place. I bet you wanted to do some more though.
Yeah, I lost a 10th in qualifying with a bobble, and that's the difference. I knew from previous seasons that I had to try a little bit different, something different with the setup, and I absolutely got the setup right. It's just very, very tricky to hold that pace with the very warm conditions, and a couple opening lap mistakes, and then that big bobble coming out of the boot, and that was it. Race over,
Yeah, we've seen multiple drivers having trouble today. Rare Paul Limbrin mistake ending his race earlier, and also Greg also making a mistake in the opening laps that gave you plenty of time back, but in the end you also made a small mistake that ultimately costed you the race.
I agree. I mean, summed it up perfectly. I've been improving my driving through VRS and doing the coaching thing, and I have the pace, but I don't have the consistency. That's where I'm lacking. If I can just eliminate those big bobbles and be a little bit more precise, I think I have a real chance to consistently get wins. But I mean,
sorry, Eddie, go on.
Oh, that's okay. I was just saying, but everyone else is steadily improving as well. So it's a catch-22. I'm gaming time, and so is everyone else.
Absolutely, it's always difficult to find consistency in whatever kind. I know the feeling very well, so it's a very hard job to. Are you looking forward to Kota next week? It's a very particular track. I know plenty of people do not like them. There is people who absolutely love them. So, like Austin, for example, but he's very biased. So, Eddie, what's your take on it?
I love Coda. I wish we could race it 12 races out of the season. If you guys remember, a few seasons back, I had my first real great qualifying lap there. I love driving it. It's technical. It makes you try, and it really, it's what I think is a good, proper racetrack. Has a nice mix of everything, and it has runoff areas. If someone tries to do something stupid, you can get away with it to a point. So I'm looking forward to it. So hopefully I can adapt and find a really good setup and go from there.
Anybody you would like to thank, Ed, before we let you go?
Yeah, I'd like to thank my teammates, DFR. They had a really good showing today. We work with each other all week to try and figure out good lap times, good setups. We push each other like crazy to be better. I'd like to thank all the new drivers to the series who are trying to play nice and who seem to be getting along. It's nice to see a lot of new faces. And thank you guys for putting on a great show as always.
Thank you very much, Eddie, and hope to see you next week. Austin, we can bring here in our booth also our third place driver, Rob Crouch.
Hello.
Rob, how are you doing? How's that race?
It was kind of exciting. Like the the last 10 laps or so were kind of boring, but yeah, early on there I had some action, so I can't complain. And when I saw that Paul had gifted me third, I was pretty happy. So yeah.
Oh, we're always happy about gifts, and hey, the holidays are forgiving, aren't they?
Exactly. Yeah.
Well, you said you had an amazing first part of this race. Walk us through that first part.
Jason qualified really well, but then I realized quite early on that we had setup differences. So I was so much faster onto the straight than what he was. I was catching him big time, but he was a bit faster through the back of the track, and had Keeman around with us as well. And my teammate Riley Miller was in amongst it, and so there was 4 of us that were all like close on pace, but with that like setup difference that was always going to make it a bit interesting. And yeah, when I got out in front of those guys, I felt pretty good, but then I saw that Keeman was carrying like Henrique back up to us as well. So I was like, man, the end of this race is going to be exciting because yeah, there's going to be 3 of us. But yeah, I noticed that Keeman had a moment and lost some time, and then I was able to gap Henrique once I got him out of the draft.
Well, you pulled out a good finish today. Finished third. Next race is at lovely Coda. How are you feeling about that race?
I hate Coda. I just want to congratulate this new driver that's burst onto the scene, this Greg P. Olsen. I'm not sure if he's actually related to Greg Olsen, but yeah, like it's great to see new drivers with like car number 9 winning the race. Like, that's really good to see. He just explained it all to me, and I don't hate him for it, but alt accounts, come on. Getting beaten by car number 9, it's never fun.
Well, hope you have a good rest of your evening, man, and congrats on the podium.
Yeah, cheers, dude. I just want to give a quick shout out to my other sponsor, which is the iRacing Stats Discord bot. I think it should show up on Google if you search for it, but it's a little project I've been running, so check it out, everyone.
All right, well, thank you, Rob, and you have a great afternoon. Over to Alessandro as he's going to clear us out.
Yeah, great evening of racing here on Apex Racing TV after the great and exciting F3 race at Sebring. Earlier on, another thrilling race here at Watkins Glen in the Formula 3.5 Challenge. What can I say? I'm definitely looking forward for Kota. I'm not as excited as someone else in the booth is, I guess, but it's definitely gonna be interesting. I don't particularly love the track either, so it's gonna be fun also to do some laps there, and we hope to see plenty of drivers coming back also next week, and even more representatives of the Japanese community, absolutely. So I guess we can wrap it up here. Thanks to Marco Barbaniera in the production booth for the cameras provided by SDK Gaming, one of our sponsors that make this show happen, with a virtual live ad to iRacing, timing towers, relative boxes, minimaps, anything you may need for your Twitch stream and to broadcast your league, so do check it out. And thanks to Austin Knight for providing us a great commentary with me tonight in the booth. I'm Alessandro Dalle Donne, and I see you next time.